It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Man, these are some trying times, not only for the imaging channel, but for the whole nation as well and all businesses. And today I wanted to bring Wes McArtor, the founder, co-founder of BEI Services, now called NextEra. And we just want to talk a little bit about some data, and we want to try to see if we can't help these dealers navigate through some of these turbulent times that we're all facing. Wes, how are you doing?
Well, Ray, it's been a trying couple weeks, and we certainly feel the same pain that all of our customers are feeling with the businesses shutting down or being sequestered from home. But they're trying to be the best service we can for our customers.
Well, I got to tell you, it is tough times. You know, I put an article out there Sunday and shared some ideas on some cost cutting, and I know dealers are looking hard at that. And, you know, obviously the human, capital components affected, everything's affected. But, I think, Wes, at the end of the day, I guess the industry ought to be grateful that you and Greg 27 years ago had the insight to really capture this kind of data. And I think now your data is probably more important than it's ever been in the history of our channel. And I'm sure the dealers that are on your platform are really using it. Now, are you getting any calls from the dealer owners that are on your platform engaging you more than they ever have before?
Surprisingly enough, not. Everybody seems to be hunkering down and dealing with the problems at hand. I think that we ought to be taking an opportunity to take this time and actually dig into the data so that we can understand where our inefficiencies existed prior to this event and what we can do to mitigate that after the event.
No, you're right. I said if you can't prepare for where you're at, you're just there unprepared. But we can damn sure prepare for where we're going. That's the reality. I know when I spent some time with NextEra, we just finished putting together that executive summary dashboard thing, and right when I left, I believe. Can you pull that up? Because I think that's really important. And I just want the dealer owners that maybe haven't really looked at your data to know that this isn't a whole bunch of just Excel spreadsheets you got to mine through, that you guys are really mining this stuff for the dealers. And here's a sample of that. But
yeah, this basically outlines a lot of the key performance indicators that we want to be paying attention to in service. And the reality is that with volumes declining, we can no longer tolerate inefficiencies at almost any level. While we've been able to get away with it in this industry for a lot of years, we have been preaching that we could do better, we can do better, we can do better, but there's never really been a motivation to do better. This crisis is creating the motivation that everyone needs to be focused on where can they optimize the performance of their service department so that they can maintain that customer base with fewer resources and better.
Wow. So if I'm looking at this dashboard, Wes, what size dealership does this represent? It looks to me like you got 40 technicians, and I think looks like they got some good issues on obsolete inventory. Is probably one of the lower ones I've seen. But how?
Absolutely. This particular dealer is, while one of our better dealers, is obviously one of the situations that we keep focusing on is that there's other opportunities that they're not paying attention to. Okay. So when you look at things like callbacks or hold for parts or even unaccounted for time, this call percentage represents the difference between the amount of time the technicians are driving to or working on equipment and a goal of 85%. We're not even asking for 100%. The reality is if they're not servicing a machine or driving to servicing a machine, they're not making any money. So when I lose that much time, the difference between 57% represents almost $86,000 a month in payroll expense that's going out the door for technicians that aren't actually working on equipment.
Well, I got to say, when I was with you, I did a presentation on this one time for some dealers, and I made a comment that if we corrected the service department and they were working these correct amount of hours against serial numbers, I call it, belly to belly to a serial numbers, we would actually get better service because we couldn't afford to not fix it the first time. We'd have to have our car stock in order, so we create the right disciplines. But man, that's amazing to me. So 57% of the hours are actually unaccounted for against a serial number. And the callback cost is about $8,200 a month, and that means they're going out on the call. They're not fixing it the first time, and they have to go back either for a part or for any other reason.
That's correct. That's just because the customer calls back and says it's not fixed.
Okay.
The hold for part is an additional inefficiency just being driven by the technician not having the right car stock and the right inventory at the time that he needs it, which can be addressed through our territory management program. So as soon as they get their territories right sized, we can put the right car parts in their car so that we eliminate that to the greatest degree possible. You can't expect technicians to work on 600 models of equipment and carry 100% of the parts that they need for those. But you can right size the inventory in a way that reduces that number to our target of 12%.
Wow. So I know this is a big, this slide in the middle here, the machine population and volume. And can you show us that? Because I know you can drill down on these as well. So this particular, there you go.
You drill into that, those arrows indicate monthly changes. So in this particular case, this is the current month. You can see that while overall volume is up slightly, it's being driven primarily by the increase in production print. But virtually every other indicator is slightly down. Their digital black and white volume went up. This is primarily, again, the numbers don't lie, but they also have hidden things in them. So when you do an acquisition, for example, your volume looks up went from the previous month because of the acquisition. But in reality, the trend lines are all going down.
And obviously your software is pretty deep. You could take this off so we can look at you again, Wes. I'll bring you back down here to the screen. But, obviously the software's got places in there where a dealer can look and see what new serial numbers came in, and you guys dissect all that for him in the class. So I guess, Wes, I like I said before when I started this thing, I think you and Greg never anticipated that your software would be needed in such a crisis time like this, but hopefully dealers are using it. I know you and your team are ready to answer any questions that dealer owners have, as they go through this struggle. But is there anything that you could tell them? Let's just say they're not even on your software, and obviously we're not trying to sell next era software. Nobody's buying anything right now. But is there anything they can do from your perspective, your industry knowledge? I'm a little dealer. What's the number one thing I ought to be doing right now around service to help me?
Well, I think that in every case, most dealers were not addressing the necessary changes because they couldn't find the time. They were busy helping their customers and putting out fires. Now they have time. So there's opportunities there to get technicians trained on online training classes. There's opportunities to get territories right sized, get the car stocks adjusted, get the inventory moved around in a place to make it more efficiency to pick that inventory and get it where it needs to be. Train those individuals that are going to help carry your business forward when this is over, so that they're better prepared so that we can address each of these key areas now in preparation for what's coming.
Okay, and I know that you do a thing where you could take data from a dealer and there's do an analysis for free anyway, and you grab a couple.
Absolutely, okay. We're happy to take dealers' information. Okay. We're here for our customers, so even for those that have chosen to cancel, we're still carrying them to address and help them with any of the issues that they have, from virtual service management to inventory issues to coaching and mentoring. Anything we can do to help those customers, we're there for them.
Okay, well, if we work together as an industry and we work together with some thought leaders like my friend here, Wes, and his team, we'll get through this. And like I said earlier, we can't prepare for where we're at. A lot of us are here unprepared, but we can damn sure prepare for where we're going. And let's use the data that we have, because if we have the data and we're not using it in this crisis, it's really like malpractice in my opinion. So take the data that you have and use it. And if you need help, reach out to Wes. Wes, I appreciate your time, and we'll see you again on the end of the day with Ray. I'm going to end this like I always do. Status quo's the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, my friends. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks, Wes.
Thank you, Ray.